Welcome back, everybody, to session 4 of a Sha'ir's poem. Last we left off with our would-be corsairs. They had acquired a freight. They had through different forms of skullduggery and kind of Keith, would you call that a little bit clandestine? You guys really aren't with the law, clandestine kind of negotiation with their.
Aggressive negotiations is how we acquired the ship. After that, it was dealing with the underground element, if you will.
Okay, right, yes. So, and after acquiring rudders, navigation charts, and the logbook with it, you have outfitted the ship known as She Who Runs Before the Wind, and you have a crew. You have a quartermaster, an elderly Yathite quartermaster named Manzu, and a crew of, on the face of them, they seem pretty healthy, young sailors who are they are not, and I will reiterate to you, these are not fighters. These guys are not. Imagine them to be 0 level commoners who are just really good with that skill set of sailing, not fighters. If there are any fighters on the ship, it's you two.
Yes. We also have a priestess who is traveling with us to near Soltage, that I was too enamored with to actually ask her name.
Right.
So I'm just referring to her as priestess as of now.
And I believe last session it was the evening before you guys planned to leave on the tide in the morning.
Yeah, we had loaded our cargo. We were getting all of our sailors together. We got the ship back in the water after the storm. She seems to be ship shape, and we have the basics we need, I believe, to make a voyage.
A basic, hopefully uneventful voyage.
Yeah. Yes. I think the last thing we were doing was possibly scavenging for shipwrecked materials that might be of use to us.
If you'd like to describe your characters as you go about doing that, Mike, take us away with Tarak.
All right. So Tarak is a Yethite, stands about 5'7", 5'8". His hair's gotten a little bit longer. The beard's gotten a little bit scruffier. His bronze skin kind of shines in the sun here. I do remember that there was one ship that got destroyed from the storm the previous night, but that crew was pretty stingy about you're not touching any of our wreckage. So once he hears that, he probably would turn away from them. Before he'd actually do any scavenging, and once they get away, he would make sure all of his poultice making stuff was taken care of. He's also kind of hesitant about this because he doesn't know how he's going to deal with that strange phenomenon he's heard whispered about called seasickness. He's never been on a boat before. He's always been landlocked, so he doesn't know if he's going to spend half the voyage with his head over the rail or not. So at the moment, yeah, he'll pick up whatever. Well, basically, he's going to be following Ben's lead on this because he doesn't really know what they need for salvage on a boat. I mean, he could pick up a piece of driftwood and think he found a gold nugget for all he knows. So people see him moving around, and he'll move with a purpose, but they'll see him kind of get like that anxiety shake before something big is about to happen.
Yeah, Ben is actually he's maybe an inch taller than Tarak, maybe 5'9", dark of skin, and his clothing might have it's well made, and it might have been to some eyes maybe even fine, It's at least compared to a beggar's, but it's been bedraggled. It's been sea stained. It even has a few holes in it where he's had wounds over the last few days that he hasn't taken the time to actually patch up. His eyes are clear though, and one who is looking closely at him may see just a hint of nervousness, not because he's not used to going to sea. It's because this is the first time he is going to be in command. And being in when someone says commander, they don't think of an 18 cycle old Thoranean. Generally, it's someone older, someone who has a few lines on their face, possibly a limb missing, that they've been through it a few times. This is a fresh-faced young man. And what weighs in his mind at the moment is that he's about to have over a dozen souls in his hands once he gets to the sea. And are they going to listen to him? Or are they going to rebel possibly? I mean, all of these things run through his head, and how would he deal with it? And at the same time, his main thought at the moment as he's looking around is rope. We need extra rope, because extra rope to him, because of what he did before in the ship, he basically was the assistant to the master of sail. Is two things the master of sail said, two things you always need on a ship, boy: more rope and more sails. You never have enough. So his mind at the moment, because he is very light in the pocket at this point, having spent pretty much all of their hard-earned money from the raiders that they had acquired, has gone toward paying the crew, putting the ship together, getting it sort of ship shape, if you will, getting materials on there, getting a cargo. And oddly enough, he's somewhat pleased with himself and the fact that he's actually been able to acquire a cargo going to where he needs to go. So there is a bit of a spring in his step, even around that nervousness. But so do we happen to see any rope that's maybe not part of that shipwreck, but maybe have been blown ashore?
Nothing that would be like useful in the long term. It's mostly trash here.
He'll sigh and turn to Rock and say, I don't think we're going to find anything good from scavenging. We probably just need to get back on board and get everybody ready. Make sure the sailors are all settled in, and that the shifts are being set up properly, and all that stuff. So,
Do you know what all the quartermaster brought? Maybe he thought ahead.
that's possible. I mean, we can always go check, but I don't think he brought much. He brought the anchor and the boat, and I think he said he was taking care of some provisions for us.
Yep.
Did bring that cook, which is a good thing. Having a cook is a very good thing when you're at sea. A well-fed man is a
the cook actually is one of his sons.
One of his kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So okay. So so I suppose we need to get back to there and see if we get the priestess to do some kind of prayer or something like that to see us on our way.
Many of your your crew members are below deck, getting basically that long hallway that is since there's no cabins, it's not big enough for proper cabins.
Yeah.
They're hanging hammocks and kind of like dispersing some of the provisions that Manzu had brought. Manzu and two of the crew members are stacking some of the more lesser quality crates, not the ones that you'd use for like the good things,
Right.
in a way where there's like a wall where the
Okay.
priestess will have like her own little cubicle, and she kind of wrinkles her nose at the fact that there's no fucking cabins.
Yeah.
And everyone's being very gentle with her. She's not being a like overly petulant princess about it. She's not being precious or anything, but she's
Okay.
she's clearly not pleased.
Okay. I'll go over and where they're doing that and sort of inspect the work. And I'll look to Monzu and I'll say, good idea for doing this. Let's make sure we make these good and secure. We wouldn't want them to fall over on anyone if we get into rough seas, of course. So, and I am going to look for a blanket, possibly to serve as a door for her.
You have the linen blanket that one of the guys had kind of died in when you took the ship.
I'll look at it. Is it reasonably clean, or is it blood stained?
Ha ha ha! There's a joke there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. If need be, I'll actually look at Monzu and say, is there anyone here who's got idle hands that we could possibly put to work washing this?
More than likely, yeah. He'll send somebody off to go do that.
Okay, so yeah, once it's done, I'll make sure it gets hung up so she can actually have a door so she can have some privacy while she's back there. And
to give you a little bit of a description for Monzu, the quartermaster, I have a feeling that he's going to become very important to you very shortly.
He is.
He is obviously he's Yaith. He is a pious man who worships several of the deities of the land, more beholding to the gods as opposed to the demons of the wilderness, as Thorana has more of those than anything else. He is also a devotee of the crushing depths, but it's pretty obvious he's a polytheist.
Okay.
He has an ibis tattoo on just below his the left side of his collarbone, that is kind of like outlined in red. He is 67 cycles old.
Okay.
So you kind of, yeah, it might make you a tad bit uncomfortable, but a lot of the people here kind of ignore you, and they're like, "Oh, what was it?" Obviously, Ben Yuthud is the captain here, but Monzu is clearly the one who knows what the fuck he's doing. And like, you kind of get this like half, like, if you tell someone to do something, they'll like, you notice it. They shoot a look to Monzu, and then he's almost always, if you actually catch it, actually, whether or not you do, he's always like, yeah, just do it. And you're like, if you pull him aside, which you're probably going to here probably soon, you kind of get this like granddad air about him. He's kind of like everyone on the ship's grandpa, even the priestess.
Okay.
He's a harmless grandpa that's like, he very much has the "don't fuck with me, I know what I'm doing" kind of like. He's not quite cantankerous, but give him a few drinks, he could be.
If there was a male version of a babushka, this would be him.
Not quite. Not quite. He well,
so a respected elder at least.
Yes.
Most people. Okay, good.
You're getting really close, but not quite babushka. Not quite.
Okay.
Give him a few more cycles, then yes.
Oh yeah. So okay, then once I know that's taken care of, I guess Tarak, do you think you might want to pick somebody to be your assistant as far as like the medical side of things goes? A assistant apothecary that you want either, have helping you?
It wouldn't
Or
hurt.
okay.
At the very least, I can find someone to watch the poultices at night when they're on watch.
Okay. It might not be a bad idea to talk to the priestess too about that. She might have some skill in that area and be willing to assist. Because literally Ben is thinking about the health of the crew right now. So so
Okay.
so with that, Ben is going to just go through and make sure the stuff is stowed, make sure if there's things that need to be latched down there, that say he has someone is latching them down, things like that. So
Okay. With that, you're able to light a few lanterns when the sun goes down and we'll actually work
Okay.
into the night. Manzu, you notice about 2 hours after dusk, it's well into the evening now. He's still kind of pushing these guys, kind of like, all right, we have shit to do, and he gets he gets a little owly with like with a few of the crew, but everything gets taken care of. And finally, when he comes down below deck to see you, and he goes, everything is done.
All right, then do me a favor, assemble the crew on the deck. Tarot.
He'll with that, he'll actually turn, and with this scene, you're in the you're back by the desk. And where I suppose the captain's quarters would be. It's not a quarters.
It's a desk and a bunk.
Yeah, right.
A bunk versus a hammock. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I see. You have a solid bed. Ooh.
Yeah. it just means I roll a lot if the ship starts getting tossed, I'll be the first one awake.
Yeah. Well, as you should be. Yeah. Right. Yes. I was about to make the comment, is that an upgrade from a bunk? We don't know. We'll see what the weather says. But you're back there, and Manzi comes down, and he turns, takes 3 strides in the direction of the ladder, which they have installed. It's not a rope ladder anymore.
Yeah.
And he just roars, and it echoes through this whole hallway, and everyone obviously fix bayonets, or oh shit, everyone runs upstairs or runs past him to the deck, to sky side. Now there's a beautiful gibbous moon out there. And he mounts the stairs, and you guys obviously young bucks that are following him down the hallway. He turns and he just winks at you and then walks up the stairs.
I'll give him a nod and a grin, and I'll say, Tarak, you need to be in front of me, unless you want to be captain.
No, Tarak will get in front of you.
Okay. Okay. He'll actually he's gonna think back to the last shift he was on, the way the captain acted there. And he remembers that before they would set sail the night before, the captain would have everybody on the crew assembled. And then he would come up and he would address them and let everybody know what we're doing, how important their job is, and how they're going to have to rely on the people next to them. And he steals himself, and then he mounts the ladder up, and he's going to actually go down the middle of the ship, because I'm assuming that the hatch is toward the back of the ship, right?
Let me get the picture up for you. Okay. And keep in mind the hole there in the center is just a window. There, that's what you see underneath.
So the hatch leading downward, is it toward the bow or the stern of the ship? I think it's toward the stern, isn't it?
Yeah, towards the stern.
Okay, so what he's going to do is he's going to, as they're there, he's going to come up and he's going to walk toward the bow, looking at each man as he walks by. And when he gets to the bow, he's going to turn to them. And he's going to say, men, many of you have been to sea before. Some of you never have. But the one thing you have to understand is once we clear this protected harbor, the only people that we have to rely on for our survival are each other and the gods. We have been blessed by the presence of a priestess who I'm hoping will pray for us on our voyage.
I'll just leave that up there.
But don't misunderstand. This will not be a pleasure cruise. We are here to work. If you do not work, you will become a burden to this ship. And if any punishment is meted out, it is not because I don't like you. It is not because Tirok does not like you. It is not because Manzu does not like you. Although we may not like you. The reason...
Manzu actually snorts at that.
Yeah. The reason punishment will be meted out, if it is required, is so that every man here has the best chance of reaching the next harbor alive. I understand that you men are not children, and I will not treat you as children. Although some of you may look at me and see what you may think is a very young man. You're correct. I am very young. And I'll walk over and I'll next to Mons and I'll say, that is why I am relying on the experience and the honor of Manzu here to help us. He is helping me lead the ship, just as you are helping every man next to you run this ship and keep this ship afloat. The expectation is that we will arrive safe, that once we arrive and our cargo is unloaded, you will be paid. Once you've been paid, you're free to go if you wish. If you wish to stay on for the next voyage, you may. I'm not going to demand anyone stay with my ship for chains or even cycles, unless you choose to. But note, if you choose to stay, then you choose to be a functioning part of this crew. You choose to be the support of every man around you. And you choose to keep this beautiful ship above the waves. Do you think you men are ready to go to sea? You'll look around and wait for a reply.
A ripple of approval kind of goes through the crew there.
I am so enthused by that reaction. I know it's not an exciting thing, men, but hey.
Manzu actually leaned. I'm assuming you're standing like in front of next to. There's a line. Next to him. There's a line of them. Okay.
Yeah.
From left to right, we've got Tarak, Manzu, the priestess, and the 12 crewmen.
Yeah. There. I'm basically
you're at the line.
I'm at the line, sort of in front of them, so they can all see me.
Okay.
But
Manzu actually leans forward and says, we are ready to sail on the tide. However, my 2 eldest sons and I will be going ashore to gather a few. He pauses for a little bit. A few last minute things before we leave. We will be back before midnight.
I'll look at him. I'll say, be sure you do. And we'll be waiting. So
he smiles at that and says, you're not leaving without us. No, we're not.
We're not.
No.
And he'll say, but you know it is bad luck to miss the tide.
Always.
So we'll set a watch. We'll have a lantern lit so that you may be guided here when you come back tonight. Now look, and I'll say, does any man here need to send a message with Manzu to anyone on the shore? A goodbye, a letter to a loved one, anything like that?
No, there's no reply there. They just kind of look at each other like, nope.
Good men. So
they are kind of, if one could be reservedly chomping at the bit, they kind of are.
So they are. So in that case, men, fall out, get what rest you can. This may be the last night you get a full night's rest without the rocking of the seas to gently put you to sleep, and also to very violently wake you up.
They disperse.
Yeah.
There are one lantern is actually hung from the bow there. Well, you can't hang it from the bow. It curves back there. Excuse me. It's up there. We'll just put it that way.
But we'll probably I would say on the stern where that curves up, they could probably like hang something from there maybe.
Okay.
So as a suggestion.
Yeah. Somewhere there is a lantern hanging for Manju to see.
Yes. Right. He takes the dinghy ashore. He takes 2 of his eldest sons. We're going to have a bit of a passage of time while that scene returns to us. What do you guys do in the next 2.5 hours? They're gone for about 2.5.
Ben is going to do his best to relax, to get to know the men a bit. He's going to talk to them, basically he's going to go person to person. If there's a group of guys playing some dice, he's going to sit down and play some dice for them to talk, get to know them a bit, know who he's leading.
They try and get a dice game going.
Mm-hmm.
One of them does,
Okay.
and no one wants to talk to him. They're like, do you want to dice now? And then it was like, well, you walk by this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Was something to take the edge off, but all right.
Okay.
I'll go fix the knots again, I guess. Again. And one of the older guys says, again, the 6th time.
Yeah.
And then to bed with us.
I'll make the comment, the knots can be checked 6, 7, 8 times. You can always check them once more. Trust me, those knots can be the difference between us making it through the storm or not. So, but
sorry, Keith. Continue.
He's just going to say, but carry on. Yeah.
They generally sort themselves out. The cargo gets it was already mostly below deck, but like the 6 guys that are down there moving it, and they're, because it is an oblong vessel and there is no cabins, they are experimenting kind of amongst themselves without much direction, unless you'd give them direction about like the 6 or 8 different ways that they could secure it down here.
I'll go down there and assist with that and make sure they secure it so that the ship is balanced and not listing to one side, and to make sure that it's all there, and make sure it's in a position to where, because it's textiles, right? And now we have
it's linens, yes.
Linens, yeah. Make sure it's at a spot where it's up high enough that it's not going to get stained by seawater if we take on water, things like that. Put it on. If you have the crates along each side of the ship, it's going to be on the uppermost part of all that.
Right.
So
they took some of the used empty crates and then made a kind of a wall and or a countertop, and then they stacked everything on top of that.
Okay, yeah. And then I'll make sure they lash everything down well, so it's not being tossed around. I'm going to ask these guys of these 6. I'll say, how many of you guys have been to sea before?
They all raise their hands.
Good. So you know what happens if you get into a strong sea and these things start coming loose. We don't want that, especially if you're asleep in the bunk right in a hammock over here. Yeah. So, but you know that. So, okay. And I'll proceed on. Get them sorted. Go to the next group if they need to be sorted, and make sure that the priestess is also settled in as best we can.
She's got a lantern back there, or excuse me, an oil lamp. She's back in her things, kind of trying to get settled in.
Yeah. I'll go back and I'll say, I apologize, priestess. I know this is probably not the accommodations you were hoping for, but we will do our best to make sure that you're well taken care of, and that the journey is as comfortable as it possibly can be. So
she doesn't reply to that, but you kind of get a You're obviously you're trying to help,
Yeah.
but she's kind of in a discomfiture at the moment.
Okay, that's fine.
She does say that she's already blessed the ship.
Okay.
Anything that the crew needs to do to tell the spirits of the ship that things have changed, or is actually the verbiage that she uses, which might stand out to you.
Okay.
That might give us a more calm voyage.
I would like, if possible, as we weigh anchor, if you could come up on deck and say a prayer for us. I think it would calm their hearts quite a bit and raise their spirits.
She's already done so.
Okay. Well, thank you. So I will let the men know then. All right. Is the blanket has that linen blanket been returned yet?
Yeah, she
Okay.
was. This conversation was through the blanket.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure it's properly secured and not going to fall down in the middle of the night. And I'll bid my good eve to her, and just basically I'm going to wander the ship is basically what I'm going to do, making sure everything's where it's supposed to be, trying not to fidget, basically.
Right. Manzu returns 4 hours late.
Okay. I will say this. That's that's 4 hours after the tide.
Nope.
Okay, but before, so technically before 4 hours later than he said he would. Okay.
Exactly. No, not after the tide.
Okay.
No.
Okay. He is before the tide.
This is the same evening. This is
I want to make
several hours
make
before
sure
dawn.
of.
No.
Yeah, I want to make sure that it wasn't after the tide left. Because
so in total, he's been gone for 6 hours 45 minutes.
Okay. So, all right. As he comes rowing up, I'll lean over the railing and see what kept you.
He does not respond to you until he gets to top side on the deck.
Okay.
And you look at him, and one of his sons is pretty badly beaten up. Manzu has a scar on his it's not a scar. He's got a cut on his left cheek that bleeds into his beard, making it rather ghastly on the left side. And the third individual, there is a corpse in the boat. And Manzu just looks at you and he says, "A snag."
I see. Do we need to sail sooner than the tide, or you aren't by a chance being pursued, are you? And he'll look up toward the shore.
We were not followed.
Okay.
The one dead isn't the cook, is he?
Oh, come on. No, it's not the cook.
I'll look at him.
It was gonna be if no one said anything.
Yeah.
I'll look at Manzu, look down.
That's because your narrator's an asshole.
So,
back the rag.
Just a general question for you, Mr. Narrator, and if I need to make a roll, I can. What is the protocol in this situation that I might know about, as far as a member of the crew dying before we leave port? Do we bring their body aboard and commit them to sea once we're out of the bay, or what do we normally do? What would or is it considered bad luck to bring the corpse aboard?
That's why he left it in the boat.
Okay.
No, that is one of the superstitions that falls under one of the precepts of Ereshkigal. bringing the dead into your space or your home or whatever have you. Yeah, by extension, he brought the corpse into the dinghy because it's one of his sons.
Yeah,
And
that's understandable.
by like you can't have that boat now because there's a lot of now filthy energy in and around that boat, and you can't bring it on the ship because bad spirits.
Yeah. Okay.
So
okay, well, I'll look at him and say, do you want me to fetch the priestess to say a prayer for your son?
no, she is not a priestess of Ereshkigal.
Understood.
This would be stepping on Ishtar's toes, and I am not doing that, and you are not doing that.
No, of course not. So,
because Ishtar will get you.
Okay. So, okay. I'm trying to think as a captain what I would be doing, because I can't bring the dinghy aboard. He's in the dinghy. You really just can't leave the dinghy floating there in the bay.
Well,
so we could, but
you could.
Yeah.
You could. Well, you could torch it.
I was gonna say Tarak's first thing would be to light it on fire and let it burn and sink, but he also doesn't know about superstitions and bad luck, and
so
why can't we bring the body on board either? So
I will.
What is Tarak's sight score?
His sight score?
Yeah.
An 8.
Then you absolutely know about superstitions.
Yeah. I meant like at sea.
Yeah, yeah, very specialized.
Like landlocked, I probably would, but like I don't know anything about being on the sea. I don't know that bringing that body on board is going to be a bad omen.
Okay.
I mean, unless like they're whispering about it, like right now. Then
all right.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah. So I'll just pull Manzu aside a little bit for the confidence. I'll also bring Tarak over because he's my second, and I'll say our best option, I suppose, would be then to give him a burial by fire and water. So, what do you think? I can arrange that as we leave.
Rock will kind of look over at Manju to see what his facial expression's like on that.
Yeah, just torch it.
Okay, we'll do. So in that case, what we'll do then is, I guess we'll grab the lead line and have it moved to a side of the boat where it's not going to like float towards another ship that's in the bay, because we don't want that to happen. And then we'll arrange that. We'll basically torch it and shove it away from the ship so it doesn't catch the ship on fire. And I'll stand with Manzu sort of as a witness to his son's end, if you will, and his other son, of course. So,
okay,
and then prepare to shove off.
It's a few hours before dawn and a few hours, obviously, before the tide changes, and out to sea you go.
All right,
into the drink.
All right, off we go. I'm sure so yeah, I'll be taking my turn at the tiller at the beginning, and I'll ask, of course, as all this is going on, I'm sure Manzu's probably bleary eyed at this point if he's been up all night. Oh, hey, Tarak, would you want to take a look at that gash on his face?
Yeah, we'll get him cleaned up.
Yeah, wouldn't want him to bleed out in the night. So probably check his brother as well. Or sorry, the brother, his son. Yeah, the other one you can't do anything about. Bad burns and all. But yeah, so I'll take the tiller, and I'll begin. I guess as the wind freshens, have them hoist the sails, or hoist the sail, and begin making our way out to sea. So,
all right. What's out to sea?
Does Monzu and the boy allow me to patch them up?
They're all pretty clean by the time they get back to the ship anyway.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Still worth checking them out. But yeah. All right. So yeah.
So, this is your caper, gentlemen. How do you want to proceed?
Well,
you technically now have a ship and a crew and the provisions to quite literally take this campaign wherever you want to take it.
Well, we have the rudders that give us the bearings we need to take to head in the general direction of Sultage. So that is literally what we're going to do. We're setting sail for Sultage, navigating out of the bay into the open sea. And is Sultage north, or is it rimward? Is it centerwise? What direction is it from the bay?
It would be on the way towards the inner world.
Okay, so in that case, we will set sail in that general direction. And yeah, once we get to sea and get everything set up, I'm gonna,
if
probably
if Arklanar was a globe, and where Hanoptra would be technically, and this actually doesn't make sense at all, but it would be northeast of you guys. If true north is the North Pole, the center of the world, that's where it would be. But it wouldn't. That's not technically.
I guess that's fine. So yeah, he'll check his, and since it's still before the sun comes up, he's gonna do a seafaring check real quick, make sure he's on his bearings. So that's a 15. So to get his bearings set.
Are you what exactly are you rolling for? Are you
basically to make sure I'm heading the right way. Since as once we get out of the bay. So
once you guys have the charts.
Well, yeah, we didn't that what we had.
Yeah, you guys do have the rudders. I want to make sure that you're doing this properly.
Yeah. Look, I'll have Tarak bring the rudders up to verify where we need to be, which direction we need to be going, and consult them. And that role was to make sure we actually had everything steered in the right direction.
All right, let me
basically making sure he can decipher the maps and the rudders correctly. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the pilot that you got these charts from, the rudder, he's got weird handwriting.
Okay.
If you're an educated man, you'd kind of probably equate that to his hand has an accent.
Yeah.
he clearly has learned Yath hieroglyphics, and he's not a native speaker. So when he draws the hieroglyphics to mean X, it's not necessarily stylized, but it's drawn in a way there's like, oh, is that an eagle? Okay, it's a bird of some kind. It actually might actually mean this. So he's trying to clearly he was trying to write in these hieroglyphics in a way where he's trying to do it quickly, so it's a little bit more abstract.
Okay.
But now I didn't actually see this before when I was looking up the difficulties for the charts and seafaring. How many grades of academics does Ben have?
Ben has 2 grades of academics.
Okay, how many grades of seafaring does he have?
Also has 2 there as well.
2. These are grades. This is not his bonus.
Grades. It's grades, yes.
Oh, okay.
He
Good.
also
Good. That
chose it as one of
means
his background fortes as well.
okay.
The seafaring.
Okay, that gives him a +1 bonus then. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually forgot that there was a requirement for using rudders, and it's actually 2 of each.
Okay.
Just like engineering has requirements, there's a few skills in the guidebook that require certain things to get certain abilities and other skills. So this would be considered a distant location, and you've never been there, so it technically would be uncertain.
Right.
Because there is close and familiar, distant familiar. There is close and distant studied carefully, close and distant seen only once, close and distant uncertain. And then the last one, for the sake of it, is mythological and unworldly, otherworldly.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to take a mystic journey with this. So what was your die roll for?
It is a 15.
15. Okay. You're pretty sure you're on the right track?
Yep.
Pretty
That's
sure.
the hope. That's the hope. Yep. So
Okay.
Yep. So based on the rudders we've got, I think we've maybe deciphered them correctly. What do you think, Tarak? Any? Okay. Well,
Tarak would basically just Tarak would be kind of like reading it off and telling what it means, and then kind of looking to Ben and be like, "Well,
okay,
that's where we're supposed to be going."
Yeah, it'll be a back and forth discussion.
This is a very non-traditional crew. The
Right.
rudders are not supposed to be shared with anybody.
Right. But the fact that the captain doesn't read that language and his first mate does makes us a team in that situation, whether we want to be or not. Yes, it is a bit not normal. Yeah, once we get our course set, I'll ask Tarak to take those below and lock them up. Put them in the strong well, what we consider a strong box. Yeah, the one chest. Oh, and then he's going to once he's sort of by himself, he's going to mutter a little prayer to hope that what gods or goddesses happen to be listening guide his hand and hopefully guide his get them to where they need to go for this this young girl's soul's sake. So that would be actually for knowledge. Yeah, he'll do a little prayer to Evis that his friend translated those words correctly.
Okay.
So
I'm actually not supposed to tell you how long it's going to take. How do you guys? There's going to be a lot of downtime with sailing. That's kind of the point of seafaring. Is it's very much it's not typical in the whole adventuring RPG kind of mindset. Yeah, it's a vehicle. It's not meant to be obviously these are going to be very slow scenes, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys to basically narrate from here forward until we land.
Okay. I said most likely what will happen over the next few days and nights is we'll start getting our routines set up about when people are supposed to take over their shifts and stuff like that. We'll probably have the night shift will probably be just the bare bone basics. Lookout, someone to keep it, a couple guys to keep an eye on the sails and the ropes, make sure nothing comes loose. And of course to furl the sails if the wind stiffens too much. And pretty much me and Tarak will probably be, for the most part, pouring over these rudders and translating them into Thoranean, as to basically try to get them as accurate as we think we can. And if there's a course correction needs to be made, we'll go up and do that. So.
Okay.
I will say that anytime not being spent with Ben doing this whole transcribing thing, Tarak will simply shadow a random crew member to basically learn what needs to be done on a ship. Because like I said before, numerous times in this campaign already, he has no idea. So it's kind of a crash course in being a sailor, so to speak. If he does have the spare time while he is shadowing, he will find out if any of them have any experience or want an experience with apothecary. And if he does find one, he will try to get them as his assistant as the day goes on. Days go on, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. 2 chains out of Hanoptra, the weather turns to shit.
Okay.
We are actually, according to the Arclanar calendar, we are entering the monsoon season.
Wonderful.
Right. And it's not it's not severe weather, it's not a hurricane, it's not anything. Think of a rainstorm that lasts for an additional 2 chains. So you guys have been gone for an entire month, 40 days, and half of that has been rain.
Yeah.
So we're in Florida in the spring.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bahamas. Yeah,
Florida during the rainy season. There is no spring in Florida.
that is the rainy season.
Yeah, spring. I know. I know, rainy season.
But anyway,
yeah. So
about the time where you guys think that you've had enough, and I'm speaking for the crew and the other officers as well, enough of the rain. It lets up for a few hours, and there's a brief hurrah as a thunderstorm hits.
Okay, so
which lasts for another 3 days.
Yeah, we will. Make sure everything's battened down, man. We're gonna have some very, very sleepless nights. So as this thing blows across, and we got to keep the ship afloat and whatnot.
To make sure that you guys don't sink, I am going to need 3 seafaring tests, one of which you guys will actually be rolling for Manzu. Manzu actually has a +6.
Okay, I'll roll for him first then. Okay.
Since Tarak doesn't have seafaring yet, the third one will be one of the more experienced sailors who will have a +2. So you'll basically be rolling for yourself, Manzu, and then one of the other sailors.
Manzu is a 31.
Oh, hell yeah.
I
the
got
valiant saver of the ship.
I got a 14 on a conditioning to not hurl as this is all going on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My roll is a 14. What you said the bonus was for the last guy?
2, same as yours.
Okay.
Well, actually, no.
Well,
he's never mind. Yours is a +1. His is a +2. Excuse me.
Okay. Well, my total when I add everything together for my seafaring is actually a +4 total. That's with my stat bonus. So. Okay, I'll roll for him real quick. Oh, here we go. Okay, that's gonna be a 28 for him. So I'm the worst of the bunch.
Well, I mean, first time captain, so
I also didn't explode, and they did.
Manzu, everyone rallies around around Granddad as he seemingly okay. Thank you for the carry. Sorry for the back pain, Grandpa. But as when that storm breaks for a little while, and the waves are there's a lull in the slashing at your ship. Everyone very much looks at Manzu like a hero because you guys almost died. Plain and simple.
Okay. Who was the third guy? What was his name? Or do you have a name for him? For his Sailor X?
Zama. His name is Zama. Zama is a Yathite in his mid to late 30s. He's like 36 cycles old. Zama has his left eye put out, and he's kind of a weirdo.
Okay.
He rumors about him like he was a guardsman in a town that no one has ever been to before, somewhere out in the desert that was kind of a walled town trying to be a walled city. And the only thing to do out there, what goes around Zama is the only thing was to go to the opium den and visit the prostitutes, of which there were 4 in this village. So these girls are very busy, and he's just he's weird. He sometimes he talks to himself, sometimes he talks to the spirits.
Okay.
And you get the feeling that he knows shit he's not supposed to, and he's really good at sailing. He's really good at sneaking up behind somebody and freaking them out. And if you have questions, Zama knows shit. He's got dirt on a lot of things.
Well, once we get to the sort of the slightly calmer patch where everyone's gotten through, I'm going to consult with Turok and with Manzu and Turok about possibly making Zama a captain's mate. See what they think about that. But basically, the next down in line under the 3 of us over the men, because he obviously knows what he's doing. And
he's also one of the oldest.
Yeah, I might also consider putting him in command of the night shift.
Oh,
so that when I actually get some sleep, we got somebody we know what's doing. Me and Manzu.
He becomes your essentially your Riker.
Kind of third. He becomes my Data.
So, Data. Okay. Now I don't watch. Is it Next Gen? Wasn't there like a night shift captain?
Yeah, Data was usually the captain of the night, command of the night shift,
because he doesn't need to sleep.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Well, it was also basically every time they showed him and him and Riker would leave, it would always be Commander Data. You have the bridge.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay.
He was effectively third in command.
Okay.
Day and night wasn't really a thing because the only time we ever saw the bridge was when one of them was there.
Right. Yeah. There has been spoofs, and we're getting off topic here.
We are.
There have been spoofs about Next Gen having a completely different crew and or cast for the night shift when the characters that we know from are sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's like always the comedy group that's like, oh, we don't give a shit. Oh, yeah. Come on.
There's a whole series about it now. But
anyway. So Zama is another point to put in there. No one ever sees Zama sleep. No one ever sees Zama yawn.
Okay.
Some people think he's a fucking monster.
Okay.
But
that's probably not a bad idea to have someone in a position above the guys, because So I will. If Manzu thinks it's a good idea and Turok thinks it's a good idea, I think I am going to put him in charge of the quote unquote night shift to keep us on course at night. Yeah.
Okay.
while the rest of us are sleeping. I'm sure, we have to have somebody at the helm at night because
How do you approach Zama with this?
um,
Well, before I continue,
yeah,
Manzu obviously gives Zama his backing because how well he performed during the storm, and he clearly is confident under pressure.
Yeah, I will actually approach Zama after the during that little lull of a time, and I'll say
he is below deck, not on his shift, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of in this in between weird state. He's sharpening a rather wicked dagger.
Okay. I will come down and I will approach him, make sure he sees me approach him. Because
for the sake of the scene, he's got a mirror down there, and he's got his back to you, and he sees you coming.
Yeah, I'll look in the mirror. I'll nod at him, and I'll say, Zama, I just want to let you know I'm impressed with the work you did today. You definitely did your part to keep this crew alive, and I think you can do more. I want to offer you the position of captain of the watch of our night. Captain of the watch of the night. So you'll be a captain's mate in that case.
With a voice that sounds like a cobra through tall beach grass, he turns to you and he says, "Do you think that's wise?"
I think you're the best man for the job.
He gets done shaving, and I think Yathites don't grow much facial hair, but when they do, it's annoying and it doesn't look good on them. But he turns, he says, "Captain's mate for the night."
Yes, night watch captain, if you will. So, although we can't actually call you captain, we have to call you night watch mate. Night watch mate.
Oh, I don't want to be a captain. I can lead men, but I don't need officership. What does this mean for pay?
Extra share.
Only one?
Well, for now. It's more than the other men will get, but I can't rightly pay you more than Manzu.
Oh no. Manzu will carry the ship if everyone's dead. Manzu is old enough to be your great grandfather. He's my father. He just goes on and says, "No, none of that. I will accept an additional share so long as it is fair for the rest of the officers."
It is.
I have a need when we get to shore.
Okay.
And it finally dawns on you when you look into his good eye. Zama's an opium fiend.
Oh shit.
And you're like, but it's kind of like
hello.
There
you go. Okay.
Are you still there?
Yeah, it froze on me for a moment. Sorry.
Okay. What was the last thing that you heard?
I looked into his eye.
Oh, okay. When you look into his good eye, when you said "oh shit," that was actually a fantastic reaction. We heard that. So, okay. So when you look into his good eye, because one of them is out, one of his left eye's actually been put out. It dawns upon you that Zama's actually an opium fiend.
Okay.
And it kind of dawns on you, like right there, like, oh, that might be why he's really good at his job. So when he says, "I have a need when we get to shore,"
I'll
and he
I'll
just
I'll
lets it hang there in the air.
I'll look him in the one eye, and I will say, as long as you can keep it together and do your job, we can do what we can to take care of your need.
And he kind of gives you this half like, it's not a scar. He's like, I have enough for 2 more months at sea.
Okay.
And I don't think, and I've never been to Soltage, but I know it's not far. We have time. We have time.
Okay. All right. I'll actually reach out and put my right hand on his shoulder, and I'll say, you did admirably in the storm. Keep doing that, and we'll get to shore, and your need will be fulfilled.
He nods.
Okay. Then
this was a pretty private conversation below deck.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't need the entire crew to know that he's an opium fiend.
Okay. I will take my hand from his shoulder, and I'll turn and head back up to the deck. Great, straight to Tarak. Whisper into his ear, our night captain likes the puppy. Just so you know.
That's really not a taboo in this part of the world,
right? Well,
it's like, oh wow, who the hell is it?
I was just saying, Tarak would kind of just like hear it, and would kind of like shrug a little bit. It's like, as long as he does his deity damn job, I don't care what he does in his off time.
That's my belief too. Okay. All right. So, and with that, we have ourselves a captain, a commander of the Night's Watch.
That is 4 officers in total.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go.
I don't consider the cook an officer.
No. I will tell Tarak I also offered him additional share, so for the position, so I'll probably be taking a cut in my share. So
or worry about that when we get to shore.
Yeah, we'll get him paid. I've got a little bit of silver left personally. So, okay.
All right. So that is 1 month. 1 month and a handful of days. We're gonna say 43 days, and this evening out from Hanaptra. The next 2 chains in the next 20 days are pretty uneventful. Almost boring.
Okay.
Zama does his let me ask you this. When does he start doing his new duties?
Probably the next night.
This is the next night.
Let him get a full day's rest.
A day of rest. Okay, and then
a full day's rest, and then he'll start on the next night. Yeah.
Whenever this guy sleeps, if he does, he gets it in. No one sees him sleep. No one sees him yawn. But now Zama is, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. He is a 3rd level artisan with a a skill specialization or boost in shipwright.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So I'm sure in conversation, because we're at sea, as you said, it's flat boring. People talk.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We'll probably find out all kinds of skills people have.
Everyone still thinks that Zama's a fucking monster because he doesn't show human functions.
That's okay. I'm actually going to make sure that the crew. I am going to look for the ones who tie knots the worst. And I'm going to put them in school to learn knots.
All right.
Make sure their knots are proper.
Oh look, Tarak gets to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray! This is a square knot. No, it's not. It's a mess.
No, that's a knot in the
negative
sense. Yeah, the negative sense. That is not an intentional knot. That is an accidental knot.
Not.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to basically have them. I'm going to get some short pieces of cord, probably about 1.5 feet long. Probably just scrap. We'd probably have around here and there for possibly cooking or whatever. And I'm going to have them tying knots
all day
in their spare time when they're not doing their
Okay.
duty.
Okay.
So I know that one. How are the cells holding up? Or the sail holding up?
Miraculously,
Uh-huh.
the storm that you guys went through
Mhm.
didn't do anything to the sail.
Good.
Thank the fucking gods.
Yes.
However,
Uh-huh.
at the end of these 2 chains, I'm gonna say 23 days more.
Mhm.
So we've gone 67 days out from port.
Yeah.
We run into simply a dead calm. There is no wind,
Nothing you can do there except leave the sails up.
right?
We have
Your
oars.
your trip goes to an ass grinding halt. This isn't an ore ship.
I would
Yeah.
say it's not like we have oars.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Using the current that unfortunately we have here, we get pushed into a Sargasso.
Oh, great.
There we go. Let me
Oh.
get you. A Sargasso, which I believe. Here we go. Hang on.
Sargassum. Yeah.
Uh
It's a specific kind of seaweed, actually.
yeah, that clogs the basically the surface of the
Yeah.
water, which basically makes a big seaweed type spider web that
Yeah.
you can get stuck in.
You
can
can.
get stuck in indefinitely.
Mhm.
And it's actually one, if you actually look this stuff up, it's probably one of the worst things you
Yeah.
can find. You guys can get stuck out here and die.
Yeah. I've seen sargassum before.
In some seas, gigantic mats of floating seaweed grow in dense, so dense that adventurous or desperate travelers can attempt to cross them on foot, which is in fact this exactly that thick. You can actually leave the ship and stand on it.
Yep. Okay. Well, yeah, but you probably don't want to do that much.
Yeah. What is beneath the water, or actually the seaweed, that's the problem.
Yeah. Because it does create a nice little habitat for all kinds of beasties, if you will.
Right.
I guess really all we can do in that situation is actually I'm gonna consult my very quickly becoming mentor.
Right. Manzu is pretty great.
Manzu and Tarak, and I'll also go, and since now he's part of the deal, I'll get Zama up there. And I'll say, so gentlemen, we find ourselves in a quiet. Any suggestions? Could we I don't know, throw hooks out and pull ourselves out of this stuff, or clear it from around the ship, or what do you think?
Nothing. Zama says not really anything less of cutting ourselves loose and getting us well on our way. Yeah. When the wind changes, because if there is no wind, the sea current will simply push us back into it, and we'll be stuck.
Yeah,
we could starve to death out here. And don't say that too loud.
We could, yes. Well, I will. Got to keep them busy for one thing, so they don't sit there and think about it too much. And so yeah, we'll keep them busy. Have them, clean the decks and whatnot. I have my guys tying their knots. I'm going to ask around. Does anybody have any skills as a tailor? Has anyone ever done any sewing?
Besides yourself? I don't
Besides
think
myself.
Yeah,
okay.
No.
Okay, I'll ask if someone happens to have, well, I don't know. Well, I guess I'll busy my time keeping an eye on everything out there, looking at the horizons, hoping for a breeze, a freshening breeze, if anything.
It's
It
about
really,
87 degrees, no wind.
yeah, that's nice. That's nice, and that's nice and warm. Not too warm though, which is good. So it could be a lot hotter than that. I guess just sort of keep an eye on looking out into the water to make sure there's nothing like messing with the boat, whatnot. I'll guess guys keep a watch. And at this point, it pray. But I'm gonna go ask the priestess if she might be willing to pray for intervention or something. I don't know. I don't know if Ishtar would have anything to do with this or not, or if she would just be not my area. So
she is down there praying. You find her. Should you wish to interrupt her prayers, it's up to you.
Once I see her praying, I won't interrupt her.
Cool, awesome. That's exactly what I was going to ask you to do. Thank you.
Yeah.
But you're back topside, and the guys are out there.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them are down now. Maybe two or three are down in the weeds with their knives trying to cut us loose. That we don't really have. The one guy who took the axe from the initial encounter is down there trying to do his level best fighting this web.
Do we have them tied off?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Manzu would not let them leave the ship unless they were double knotted.
Good.
Now it's time to fish, but I don't think we have any rods.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. When someone says something about fishing, Benyathu just gets a look on his face and sort of shakes his head and says, "No."
Someone else on the crew says, "Yeah, wouldn't that be a really good idea to fish?" No. How about not?
Actually, because Ben's going to make sure that he's going to let them know, hey, don't keep Ben down there for too long. An hour at most. Bring him back up, give him some good water, rotate these guys out. Of course, that. I'm just,
He's reiterating.
Out loud fidgeting. Yes.
Yeah. So doing captain stuff, being captain-y.
Tarak won't even take a turn down there too.
Captain,
cut it away.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I have a spare shirt and breeches. I'll make sure I have my spare shirt and breeches on. I'll probably at this point have darned my the other ones as well, sewed them back up. Yeah.
The priestess comes up topside to watch the guys work, and she kind of notices that some of the guys are like more paying attention to her instead of working, so she kind of realizes that and goes fuck back downstairs.
Okay.
She's like up there for like 20 minutes to get a quick suntan in and go back down.
I noticed this, or should I do an awareness check to see if I notice
go?
This?
Love to see her walk away.
Depends. Will you notice?
That's the question. So the awareness test is for. Probably not. That's a whole 9.
Yeah, no. You are looking at her too. Don't
probably,
don't
but
fucking say that you guys need to get back to work when you're doing the same damn thing.
I'm doing captain's work. I'm watching out for the crew. She's part of the crew right now.
So with that,
I had an 18 on awareness, so.
Oh yeah, no, of course. Well, Tarak noticed.
Yeah,
you're probably down in the water when all this is happening.
Maybe.
Look at that! Get your ass back to work.
She just happened to lean over right when I looked up.
Oh hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You guys will work for several hours into the evening.
Yeah. The sad thing is, sargassum is not edible.
No, it is not.
Well, it is, but only once.
Oh, yeah. And now when you guys get cut loose and you kind of drift away from the thing, and everyone is topside, you notice a rather long, striped, fish-like thing swim beneath the Sargasso
Okay.
and disappear into the forest there beyond.
Mhm.
And Zama was looking down there. He looks up at Ben.
Mhm.
He looks back down on the water, and he says, "I am glad everyone is aboard."
I am too. Very much so.
That's a big fish.
That is a big fish.
And well, let's see if the wind will actually return to us. The wind returns to us 3 days later.
Oh, okay. That's Yay! We celebrate.
Right? Drinks for everybody. Not too much though.
Well, a bit of grog.
Um,
One swig of grog per man, including the captain. So
now the rest of the voyage, again, is pretty uneventful, and you do successfully make it to the Isle of Sultage.
as soon as I see it come into sight, I will let out literally a sigh of relief. Whew. And get the ship headed into port. So, do they have an actual dock here, or
Oh, you guys aren't near the island yet. This is
You're
on
just
the
seeing-
edge of your vision. You see it,
okay, that's
but
fine. Okay,
you're still
this is the
15 miles offshore.
This is
that's fine.
the land ho moment, is basically what
Land
it's saying.
ho. All right. So
Oh yeah. So
All right.
as everyone gets excited and gets themselves ready to
okay.
well, basically put into port,
Yep.
everyone's
I will
morale increases.
I'll make sure we start getting the ship, beginning the process of getting the ship rigged for port. So, and, making sure that yeah, everybody's basically keeping the men busy so they're not sitting there staring at the front of the ship, and they all go up there and the ship tips forward and sinks. Not that it actually would, but still, keep them busy.
Out of the early morning mist, a ship basically materializes there for you, almost hauntingly. A wolfish looking warship with 3 sails. She a beautiful devouring thing that she is, armed with a ballista on her bow, and a what looks to be like a kettle of some kind that's kind of like angled off to the side up on the upper castle towards the back of the towards the stern. She is leading a quartet of not necessarily smaller ships, but they're not. Think okay, if your ship is a cog, these are more these 4 ships. I'm basically describing a flotilla for you.
Okay.
They are obviously they're larger trade ships. They're like a scale or 2 larger than a cog.
Okay.
A cog is for short range sea and mostly coastal sailing. However, you can take a cog into the deep. That's fine. But these are mid to long range vessels that are trade ships. It doesn't look like these things are armed, as you don't really see much of them yet, but it's pretty clear that these would be a similar class of ships, would be Ben's previous crew probably owned.
Okay. So
where the leading ship, the one with the armament and the three sails, is a galley.
okay.
A cross between a sloop and a galley, so she looks
Okay.
very fast. And
So possibly a cutter.
yeah, like maybe a cutter of war, if you will.
Okay.
And they kind of hove right out in front of you, like these five.
Okay. I will be a conscientious sailor and try to steer my ship around them.
Manzu is about 10 feet away from you, standing at the rail, just simply goes,
yeah. Beautiful ships. Yeah. We'll definitely try to steer to avoid them so that we're not like sailing across their bow or anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to, get tangled up with them. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of members of the crew are probably, oohing and eyeing at these.
Now the sixth, bringing up the rear, is actually a sloop of war.
Okay.
Why they have the fastest ship bringing up the rear, we don't know. But she's armed with a particularly vicious-looking ballista on her bow.
Okay. So, I can see that.
They, should you wish to hail them, however you wish to proceed, there are now 6 ships in the mist between you and your goal.
I mean, yeah, it's probably just I mean, I would think it would probably be just polite to hail them. So if we come close enough to hail one of them.
Yeah, you could hail the monster that's leading.
Okay.
If you wish.
All right, I'll just do I see a name on the side of the ship?
In Yathite hieroglyphics? Yes, you do.
Hey, Tarot, what does that say?
Oh, no, narrator, what's that say?
She's called the Black Lotus.
Okay. I'll just yell over, "Hail the Black Lotus! How the seas fare?"
Let's see. How would they respond?
Hopefully not like assholes.
Yeah, right. Oh, they put a hole in your ship and then they just fucking leave you.
Yeah, right. I can fucking see it. Like, boom. What?
Shwack. They've got this. You are within range of that siege weapon.
Oh, I'm sure we are.
But a few moments later, you hail, and then maybe like one of the sailors, you can't quite tell his nationality or his heritage from that range, but your voice cuts across the water and in the mist there. They get closer to you, and an Igniad stands at the railing. And he replies, maybe a little bit like when you get the feeling he sees you, he sees your ship, kind of like takes the snap judgment in immediately and go, "It's a cog." And he says, "Hail, cog."
Okay. How long was it since we came through the slack? How long has that been?
At this point? Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's about 3.5 weeks.
So 3.5 chains like back.
Okay. 18 days and this morning.
Okay. All right. I'll let him know if you're heading that way. But where there is a slack with sargassum in that area, and I wish you well.
he pounds twice on his railing there. He gives you his thanks, and he kind of barks maybe a little bit imperiously at the rest of his crew, getting them underway, and oars actually start to appear on these sides. So they're like,
Okay.
they
Gets the heck away. Yeah, let's
oh
get
yeah,
going.
they kick
Okay.
up and they leave.
Okay. I'll turn around to the crew and says, maybe a cog, but let's look smart as he passed by them. So put a little pride in our steps, Yeah.
Zama makes the comment, they're probably working as escort for those trade ships.
I think so, probably, yeah.
With an escort like that,
they're probably carrying something very valuable.
Mm.
All right.
I'm glad to know I'm not on a pirate ship.
No. Well, a good pirate wouldn't take that anyway. That would be suicide. And Benyathai just sort of laughs at that. Says, no, we're traders. We're definitely not pirates.
Which is a blatant lie. Come on now.
Well, I mean, I did get
you are a pirate,
murder,
right?
Me and Tarak did get the ship via murder, so technically, yes.
Yeah.
By
Is
definition,
this ship
we are
pirate? Yeah, maybe.
The ship itself.
I mean, another day a pie would have been, left alone anyway. So
right,
possibly, but I'm not patient. So okay, yeah. So
the escort and the trade ships, they leave the scene there.
Okay.
You are introduced to kind of the pretty of the region here. Maybe a few more hours, and you guys are slowly hoving into partially nosing towards the docks there.
Okay, so the actual dock. Okay. I'll do a seafaring. Do I need to do a seafaring roll to pilot the ship into the dock itself?
Nah, you guys. It's a pretty deep harbor. It's not going to be very difficult to get you guys in there.
All right. So we'll do that. And are we required to take on a pilot going in? That's the question.
Yeah, because you know what? Yeah, no, you would.
Okay.
You would.
Okay.
You would have been met 2 miles offshore.
Okay.
And you would have taken a pilot in. He would have either you would have. And actually, no. I actually can hang on. Let me back all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you let him look at your rudders?
No, because he doesn't need to see my rudders.
Good.
He's just supposed to guide us into the port and make sure we dock properly.
I know that. I wanted to make sure you knew that.
No,
I was gonna fuck with you guys hard if you guys let him look at your docks.
No,
but all right. But no, he introduces himself to the crew. He doesn't give you his name, but
that's fine. We just call him Pilot,
and he gets you guys safely into harbor.
All right.
He picks a wharf that's kind of like off to the side.
Okay, that's fine.
There's a cluster of ships where seemingly everyone starts to fill up quickly, but he's like, I'm not going to put you in the mess. I'm going to put you over here.
Okay. All right.
Maybe that was kind of a level of kindness. We don't quite know, but once he gets you tied off and he dips out.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, let's get this. Let's get this cargo unloaded. Okay, actually, hold on before we get unloaded. I know you guys are ready to go ashore. I need at least 4 men on the ship at all times, and I need to
10.
go.
We need a fuck 10. Sorry.
I know. I need to go in and meet my contact. That a knot sent me from. Or Enkip. If I cannot pronounce that, I read that. Kip Turka. Who the heck is that?
The merchant?
Yeah.
His
contact.
Here we go.
Anka Perka. Okay, yeah. That makes sense now that I see it.
It's in chat now too.
Okay, yeah, I'm missing a letter. Anyway, that's why it was hard to pronounce. Kerperka. I need to go in town and find the contact that I need to deliver this stuff to, and as soon as it's delivered, I will pay them in. So
Okay.
So,
who are you bringing ashore? Well, bringing ashore, yeah.
oh, obviously, I'm bringing Tarak ashore.
Right. There's your one.
Let me see. I'm bringing Tarak ashore. I am going to put Manzu in charge of the ship for now, with the promise that he will have time to get off the ship shortly.
And he's itching to get off the ship. His piles and his feet are hurting him.
Oh, I understand that. And I am going to I'm going to bring Zama with us.
Okay.
The three of us are going to go find the merchant.
One
more than one of the random sailors.
Okay.
The cook.
The cook. We'll bring the cook with us.
You want to bring?
That's who we'll bring. We'll bring the cook. And we'll go look for this merchant. That we're supposed to deliver to. Did he give us a name? I don't remember.
I didn't write down a name.
I didn't get a name. Oh. But I'm sure he wants me to deliver it to a specific individual.
Yeah, no, I for whatever reason I didn't write down the contact's name. That's hilarious. Excuse me. So you guys leave the ship. Down the plank you go onto the dock, and you guys are met with port officials.
Of course. Yeah.
And the docking fee is 25 silver.
Okay.
And Zama kind of just looks over like, "Fuck you! What now? Yeah, 25 crown.
Yeah. 25 silver. Why so expensive? Just for a little cog."
Soltage is a free port. We need to pay for the protection of the city. There are no slaves on that ship, are there?
No, these are all free men.
Slaves are not allowed within the city walls.
Good to know. Yeah, you'll not find one there. 25 silver. So,
did that guy put us in the expensive war for what?
I don't know.
I don't know. Did he?
I'm gonna look at the fellow and I'm gonna smile at him.
Did that pilot just pay himself?
Yeah, he may have. I'm going to look at the fellow and I'm going to smile broadly, and I'll say, "Gentlemen, it's my first time at your port. I do apologize if I have come across as in any way offensive. I did not mean to do so. Of course, your fair city needs to be maintained. Your docks need to be maintained, and that is extremely expensive. But might I possibly persuade you to allow me to contact the merchant whose goods I'm delivering, and possibly negotiate with him prior to paying for this, if I do pay you by, say, the setting of the sun today?"
No. You will not leave this dock without paying.
Okay, fine. I'll reach into my pouch and pull out my paltry little bit of money I have and pay him his 25 pieces of silver.
The fucking bills add up, yeah.
I know, that's fun.
Fucking inflation, I'm goddamn telling you.
Mm-hmm. So, luckily, I had that of my own stock and wasn't coming out of the money that the guys would get paid.
Good.
Okay.
You would have a very upset crew.
I would have, yes.
The port official says, once you handed the coin over, what is the nature of your freight?
It is textiles, linens.
And I am sure you are respectful enough to allow your ship to be searched.
Yes, if you do deem it necessary to search my ship, you may come aboard. Actually, We will accompany you if that's okay with you, so that we may answer for any questions you may have.
Okay. An additional 30 people are on your ship, which probably makes your eyes itch.
Yeah, we're almost
and-
sink. I will say, this many men will almost sink this ship.
How
Not
do they
that
need
big of a
30
cog.
extra people to search a ship?
Yeah, it's not that big of a cog. So, okay. I will show them what they need to see.
Tarak will actually move ahead of them to inform the priestess of the company.
You do.
Yes. Don't need 30 people coming below deck and having her freak out over that.
Yeah, because she was bathing.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And there are a lot of strange men in addition to the strange men that she's just been on the ship with for almost 3 months. Now inspecting her, basically her underwear bag.
Yeah.
So suitably speaking, she's fucking livid.
And Tarako did this whole, I don't know why they need so many. I don't know why they're doing it. It's my first time dealing with this. I apologize.
I will be with the official that I spoke with and say, is it truly necessary to search her personal belongings like that? And it's just,
all ships are searched top to bottom.
I understand, but
the magistrate does not allow slaves or any other undesirables in his city.
I can assure you there are no undesirables on this ship.
There are no criminals.
There are no criminals.
This official stands in front of Zama rather menacingly. And Zama, you guys know enough about Zama to know that he's a fucking weirdo. And he doesn't have a problem with authority.
Yeah.
Weirdo is not criminal though, so
you guys don't know.
Well, we don't know any of that, but still.
But the official said, do we know of criminals on the ship? No, we do not.
No.
To answer this question, no, we don't know. But in regards to Zama's appearance with his scarred face, his eye is put out, and his slight opium addiction, his smile is worse than his snarl, and it actually sends a fucking chill up and down your spine when he smiles at this official and he says, no, there are no criminals on my ship. The captain here will vouch for us. He hired no such corsairs, and his smile fucking widens. And you're like,
I like Zama.
You know shit, don't you, my lad?
Yes, no corsairs upon this ship. So no ne'er-do-wells, no scofflaws.
Meanwhile, Tarak in the back of his head is like, we started with someone dying because of possibly doing stupid shit.
And they move on. This official has to walk through the entire ship. His people have ransacked the fucking ship, but he also has to have his hands on every box.
Yeah, I will point out the linens and where they're stored, and that these are the linens that are being delivered. They are from the merchant and Kerptra, or Unkerptra, that word does not like my mouth. His name, let's say his name, and that he is a very well respected a merchant from Menoptera.
I am aware of this merchant.
Yes, he would not hire scofflaws to safeguard his product, of course.
Once he has thoroughly pissed off Manzu by putting his dirty hands in all of your produce,
Yeah.
Manze's eyes, his old fucking eyes,
Yeah.
like bulging out of his fucking head, and he's
Mhm.
like he's looking at you on the corner of his eye. He is snarling past his beard, like, get him off of the ship before I do.
Yeah. Once he has done that, I will look at it. I'll look like him and say, "Sir, I do have business to attend to. Have we satisfied your inspection? Do you wish me to disassemble the ship?"
Should I move the hospital to the left or the right for you? He
Would you like to
satisfies
do an
himself
inspection?
when he takes a peach. He takes a peach from the food stores. He takes a bite of it, which you're noticing that Manzu's hand is on his saber and it is itching. Like, don't mess with this old man's provisions. He is so meticulous about every piece of fruit, every crust of bread, every cup of grog that is on this ship. You're actually very blessed by the fact that you however landed Manzu, because he is such militaristic in his organization that now one piece of fruit is going missing and he's about to cut a man in two. He takes this peach, he takes a bite of it, and he says, "My inspection is complete, gentlemen. I bid you welcome to Soltage." And all of him and his lads leave. Which, when they finally do, and everyone is out of earshot, the entire crew shoots daggers at the back of Ben's head. Like, what's going on here?
I will walk over to Manzu, look at him, I'll say, "Make sure everything's still on the ship that's supposed to be on this ship, sir, please." And so I think I may have to have words with some people. But and I will say a little bit louder, I don't like my crew being manhandled. Someone will answer for it. And I'll turn and stalk up to the stairways and up on the deck.
Yeah, so there's very much a ripple of approval that you got from your crew, but they are ape shit.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Tarak will check on the priestess, make sure she is back in order before he goes topside.
She's
seething, he knows, but
you don't necessarily walk into her space, but you hear her uttering curses about may his penis wither and fall off and all of his generations. May the ghoul jinn devour his bones for 1,000 generations.
Wasn't there something about the bugs infesting his arm being too short to reach or something? I think I heard that one before.
Yes.
And then Tarak he'll walk back up topside.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be up there on the deck as these guys are leaving down their dock. I'm just going to sort of stand there and stare at them as they leave.
Yeah, you're hurling silent insults and doom upon them but they don't care.
If looks could kill, I'd be accused of murder.
31 times.
Yeah, at least
all of them.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I would hope these men would have a horrible accident where they all trip, their daggers fly out, and they fall upon them.
Right.
So, and once they're out of the way, I'll gather my 3 companions that I'm going with to go into town to find this merchant.
Zama meets you at the gangplank, and he says, and he's got this kind of like, I'm gonna level with you tone when he says, "I'm not comfortable leaving the ship now."
Then keep an eye on the ship to make sure no one comes aboard that doesn't need to be aboard.
No, I'm coming. I will follow.
Okay.
I've been given an order. But I don't like this place now. It was a beautiful island from the sea, and now there's a hole in the world. And let's be on our way.
Okay. I'll look at him and I'll say, if you would like to watch the ship, I can always bring Manzu instead. I would rather
No.
have.
If Manzu leaves, he's going to kill someone. Just like that. Really quick.
And I'll look at you and I'll say, "Will you be honest?"
Would you want my dagger?
No, I don't want to leave you defenseless. I just don't want any trouble we don't need.
No.
Because trust me, I've thought of it myself. But
and we are of one mind.
yes, so
let's be off then.
All right, so off we'll go looking for this this merchant. I will. Let me see here. Can I give him a name?
I'll get you a name.
Okay.
Descending down into the town. They call it a city. It's a port town.
Yeah, it's probably much smaller than Hanoptra, I'm willing to bet.
Oh, very much so. It's got a wall, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
The merchant's name is Akinya. He is a mixed-blooded merchant. His description to you was quite odd. He is bronze-skinned with blue eyes and a shock of white hair.
Okay. I'll do some asking around if any of the, if anyone knows this Akinya. I'll ask for the porters and see if anybody can point me to him, because he's a merchant. They probably worked for him at some point.
Oh yeah,
loading a ship here or there.
Everyone knows Akinya.
Okay.
He is, from what you understand, just talking to a few people in town, he is a well-connected individual.
Okay.
When you do finally meet him in his shop, he is just as alien and weird sounding as he was described. Clearly, he's mixed race, or excuse me, mixed species. His ears are a bit oblong, so there's a little bit of Fae in there somewhere. He wears the eyeliner of a Yathite, and his hair is tied back in kind of a loose queue, which kind of sets off that white stripe in his hair that just kind of like slicks back. But that's not natural. That's not dyed there either. Something happened to him. But Akinya looks up and he says, "Are you the lot who's supposed to bring me my linens?"
I'll give him a bow and I'll say, "Captain Benyethod, at your service. Your linens have arrived. Though I must say that the hospitality at the dock leaves much to be desired."
We are all aware. And that look he gives you says more about the situation than and it's like, oh, all right.
Okay. So
we're going to talk about that later.
So where would you like your linens to be delivered to, sir? I can have them brought to you from the ship post haste.
Do you have any? There are no slaves in Soltage, but do you have any laborers or strong backs that can unload them? My people can meet with your people.
I just have me and my sailors. We loaded them. We can unload them.
No, well, unload them onto the docks. I will send 2 of my men to meet with you, and we will reconvene this evening. Will you dine with me? Wine this evening at dusk?
I will. I do need to tend to my men before that. Make sure that they have a rotation to come off the ship, and make sure that they're paid. They've been on a long voyage.
I will pay you a quarter of what I have now, and then when everything is delivered to my warehouse, I will give you the remainder.
That's acceptable. So
he's basically giving you just enough money to disperse the coin to the crew, and then the rest is there.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good to me. At least they'll get their silver each. I think I originally had said what, 3 silver total.
I don't remember what I
I
wrote down.
believe a share was supposed to be 3 silver. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because that gave us a total of 20 shares, and yeah, it worked out. All right. So that I can at least pay them in if we get a quarter of that. So a quarter of that's going to be
I believe it was
that's
60
50.
for the job.
Yeah, so that'd be 15 silvers. That'll be enough to give each man a silver coin, and that will bring them back because they have to get paid the rest of their money.
Technically,
So-
we should have a little bit extra now because the one guy's dead.
That's true.
Yeah, he did lose
It is.
one.
Well, actually, his share is going to go to Zama
Yeah,
because you said you
his
were paying
shares
him an
going.
extra share.
His shares going to Zama. Yes. So yes,
Sorry, outside thinking.
that's fine. That actually worked out. So see, the narrator did us a favor. So yeah, I'll go back and gather the crew on the dock once we get everybody back there, and tell them that we are to unload the merchandise onto the dock here. Merchants will be coming. I'll go ahead and I will hand Zama the coin purse and have him give each man a silver coin, and tell them that this is the first of their pay. The rest will be delivered to them the next morning. That the merchant will be paying the rest of it tonight, and I will have it for you at dawn. So make sure you come back to this ship.
Zama will see over unloading the cargo.
Okay.
Zama is not going to attend the dinner with the merchant,
Okay.
but Manzu will.
Okay. All right. That'll work.
Manzu's logic is some good food and drink should wash the uncomfortable experience from earlier today out of their collective mouths.
Yeah. Hopefully we can talk this fellow into giving us a cargo to the next place. So at least give us information about the area. So
that evening you actually go to what would basically amount to a moderately not as wealthy as Ankaperka, of course, but a lesser wealthy merchant, his villa, so to speak. It's
okay.
basically a really large house, not quite a villa with a fucking wall or anything.
Yeah, it's a nice house. So can you give me like 30 seconds before we start that? I got to buy a break. So I'll be right back. Meanwhile, talk among yourselves.
I think we're going to take a quick fiber here.
Cool.
All
I
right,
am
Mac.
here. Yes. All right. I
Everyone
am
is
well.
back. All right, good.
Yep. So,
So we reconnoiter. We reconvene to the merchant's villa for dinner that evening.
okay.
You are served fish. You are served wine.
Okay.
Some baked breads, butter, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Fruits from the island, and I will open the scene to the conversation that's clearly going to be being had.
Mhm. Concerning the inhospitable nature of the inspectors at the dock. Yes, I will. I will relay to this merchant exactly what happened earlier today.
He
And
says that is not unusual.
So what drives this? Is it are there those trying to smuggle slaves into this town or take slaves out? What's the nature of the issue that's causing this?
Somewhat of both. There is uh, there is now a coalition of tribes of cannibal folk that inhabit the islands, and they have been more restless recently. And the slaves that are working in the various sectors of the town outside the walls and such like are the seemingly now as the months have been going on, it's a favored food source for these tribal folk.
Oh, so slaves aren't allowed in the city, but they're allowed outside of the city. Is that what I understand?
No,
No.
there are no slaves within the city. Only free men live in the city.
Of course. Okay. Well,
That all ended some months ago before the monsoon season began, when a horde of these tribal fiends, these devils, burned a portion of the town and sacked the many of the slaves, many of the free men, and their wives and children were drug off and thrown into the soup pots of these tribes. So the local magistrate got his people out of the city and said, well, there's no more food for these individuals within the city, so the city will not be attacked. Now, there's significantly less slavery on Sultaj. It may or may not be a good or bad thing, depending on who you speak to.
I'll look over at Tarak at that. Well, interesting way of taking care of that problem. Yeah.
It's like pests don't have food in an area where the pests will come.
Well,
no pests.
I'll sort of take a sip of the wine, and I say I don't see how that and this is just my speculation, mind you. I'm not making any judgment about your home, but it would seem that free people may not taste much different than slaves. I wouldn't think. So you'd almost think you would import additional slaves just to make sure that that you are protected.
He just shrugs his shoulders and says, slaves are easier to carry off, I suppose.
Maybe. I haven't had much experience with slaves myself. I've never trafficked in them, and on this ship or any other ship I've dealt with.
Ankaparka does not deal in living cargo.
Yes, he definitely did specify that to me. Yes. So tell me, I'll lean forward a bit. I've been told that there are islands nearby where one might be able to find a certain flower, a blue lotus. Would you know about those?
Blue lotus grow in springs.
Ah,
It's a he describes a water lily to you.
okay. Oh, so they grow wild around here on Saltage. Is that correct?
For the most part.
So one could just go and pluck one from a spring. So of course, obviously, as you said, dodging cannibals all the way.
One would hope.
Yeah. Yes, one would not want to wind up in a cook pot. I'll look over to rock at that one. Don't want up in a cook pot. I'm trying to retrieve some for someone. It's a special request, a religious pilgrimage, almost, if you wish. Would you by chance have anything going back to Hanoptra that you would like to carry, any cargo?
I will have to look into that for you.
Because it would be a shame to leave port with an empty hull. Ships don't pay for themselves, as you very well know. Now the deport fees. It was almost half of what I was promised pay. So
it's an additional 25 for the leaving visa. So I'm sorry, you're landlocked. Unless you pay.
Or unless I find a merchant who's willing to pay it to get their merchandise off this island.
Good luck with that.
Well, merchants who have nothing to trade don't become not merchants very quickly. Just as captains who cannot sail become not captains very quickly. You may know about this. As we were sailing into port, we passed a flotilla. Some ships of war and several very well appointed cargo vessels. Do you know what that was all about?
Oh, you're probably speaking about the Black Lotus and the Dawnthorn. They are trader warships who hire themselves out sometimes to corsairs, sometimes to privateer, and on this particular job, I am associated with their employer for this adventure. This is none of my freight is being moved on that flotilla, but they are escorting those trade ships there. They're very skilled.
Yes, I can imagine. Having seen their ship up close, they very much are. So very interesting design, that ship. It'll be an honor to captain a vessel like that at some point. But alas, I have my my humble she who runs before the wind, though she is a good ship. But so they'll just do idle chit chat, talk about the weather on the way in, blah blah.
Yeah.
And eventually he'll come to the point. He says, "I have a priestess who, for some reason, was wishing to take passage to this island."
What
Priestess
sort of
Ishtar.
Well, all right. There is a small shrine to Ishtar, as well as a few other gods here.
Yeah, I believe it's
where an everyman temple.
I believe that's where she was intending to go to. I'll have to make sure that she's escorted there after this meal, most likely. So, so how much trouble are my men likely to get into at this place? Is it a rough and tumble town? Am I going to have to be going in checking all the bars to make sure they're not lying in behind them, dead in an alley.
Oh,
Well, any more than normal.
I would keep a very close eye on your men in this town.
Understood.
They should be chaperoned,
Yeah.
especially with the trireme in town or in port.
Trireme.
Yeah, I will say your character has never heard of a trireme before.
Yeah. He's gonna just say a trireme. What do you mean?
They are foreign ships of an odd design. They are tall, single-masted oar ships with 3 rows of oars on a side.
3 rows of oars.
Yes.
Let's take hundreds of men to man those.
Uh-huh.
Ah, now I get your meaning.
There's one that we can see, and you didn't see it when you talked. You can't miss it. It's enormous. It's like a floating castle.
Did we see the large ship as he came in?
You saw a tangle of sails that may or may not have looked like many sails, or a Cthulhuoid thing of lumber and sail and cloth and rope.
I did see many sails, or many masts, I should say, at port. Specifically, I don't believe I came into port in such a way that I got a very close look at it.
Well, if
We
you
also
can,
got putting at the side too, so there was that.
you owe it to yourself to at least look upon it, but watch out for those folk with the cat's eyes and white skin.
I have encountered their like before, actually. But yes, I will keep my eyes open, and I will alert my crew as well. I'll make sure to look over at Manzu about that, and sort of nod to him. I'm sure he'll be like, oh, okay, great.
He just says, I'll chaperone the first shore party if need be.
Well, I think we'll need to make sure they don't get too drunk. So, don't want them to get fellported. Don't know where Fellport is, but Anyway, yes. Well, if you happen to come across any cargo you need ferried back to Hinoptera, that will be my next port, heading back there shortly. Probably not within the next tide, but fairly soon, most likely. Once I acquire this flower.
I wish you luck with the flower.
To your knowledge, do the cannibals are they more active at night or day? Or do you know?
I do not know. I don't make it a habit to deal with cannibals.
I don't either. That's why I was hoping if they sleep at night, I would know when to leave to go look for this flower. If they sleep in the day, even more so. Well, Tarak, anything that you wanted to talk to this fellow about by chance?
No, Tarak's really just enjoying the food. He's kind of like, he's just looking around the whole place and just kind of like taking it in.
This guy lives very comfortably.
Right.
He's got a pretty hot wife and a couple very healthy children.
Right.
He's got the money. Actually, he has 2 wives.
Ooh. But he'll kind of look at Ben, but no, this was your voyage from start to end. So I do get the feeling the priestess is probably getting itchy to.
Well, that is true. Maybe we should get back and tend to her and tend to the crew as well before any of them wander off. By the way, has his men already picked up the linens?
You guys have been here the whole evening, so you don't know.
Okay. Okay. So when should
Clinking
I?
glasses with the aristocracy here, Keith.
I know. So I'll look at. So when should I expect your men to come and retrieve your merchandise?
This evening. They should
Okay.
be done by dawn.
All right. So the rest of the payment will be rendered as they pick them up. Then will they be bringing the money with them?
My people will be with yours.
Okay. All right. Then I will bid you a good eve, sir, and thank you very much for your hospitality. Beautiful meal. Beautiful wives, wonderful children, wonderful home. So may it be blessed by all the gods who look upon it.
So we leave that scene. We are out on the street, which is slightly paved. There is a warm evening, tropical breeze there. You're walking down. You, Manzu, Tarak, and we're gonna say
Manzu's son.
the cook. Yes, exactly. The cook didn't say much the whole time. He was taking mental notes, like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to fucking try this later."
Oh yeah. So.
You lad, take notes. You're gonna be cooking this.
Hopefully.
You guys walk down what would be one of the streets that would go to the main thoroughfare of the town, and you do see the trireme. From this angle, it is an enormous floating edifice of death. It's got she's armed with 2 ballistas, and a portion of her crew is on land. Well, actually, excuse me, aboard. And there's a lot of these black hair, blue eyed, fair skinned folk. It's like when these ships come ashore and the army that comes off of it is deployed. This is our land now, kind of.
Yeah, there's probably more people on that ship than is in most of this town.
Yeah.
So yeah, they probably increased the town's population by twice, doubled it almost. Okay. Yeah. So Manzu, you ever encountered any of these kind of people before, other than that one pilot we spoke with before?
I never met the pilot.
Oh, that's true. I know if you had a chance to actually encounter him while you were in an option or not.
Ebon folk. I've met a few.
Okay. Should we worry, or was the merchant being overcautious, you think?
No, mind your purse.
Understood. Oh. He'll actually take his purse and actually put it inside of his tunic. Not that it's got too much money in it at the moment, but still, what little he has, he wants to keep.
The interesting thing about Ebon folk are they're known as a heritage of thieves. They're vicious fighters, yes. And their home has an enormous professional military. They have this one high king who lives in a dark tower like a sorcerer who seems to play with the world, and they're, I say mind your purse, but in turn, he could just beat you and take your purse from you anyway. They're not.
Yeah.
There are 2 kinds of thieves in the world, and the ones that'll cut your throat and take your purse from you, or the ones that will just beat you and take it.
Yeah. There are those who sneak and those who walk proudly, knowing they can't be.
These people do both.
Okay. And yeah, we'll skirt the area where they're at if possible, as much as possible.
You smell the alcohol, you hear the singing in whatever alien tongue that they speak, and it's they're having a fucking great time.
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing, they're having a great time. But you do see the military uniform. On land, they wear coats of mail in that strange blue-black metal. Their broadswords are straight and double-edged, not like the sabers, Shamshir, and other long knives that you guys have. They're taller than you, and they have a confidence about them that they're all right.
Yeah.
The local women seem to fawn over them, and that probably makes you a little pissy.
Yeah. It's, as I have heard tales from other sailors, you come to an exotic port, as it were, where you are not of the look of the locals. They tend to fawn all over you there too. So, but yeah. Anyway,
we return to the ship,
okay.
and the priestess is there, kind of watching the festivities on shore. These foreigners are having a grand old time. Over there, and she's kind of looking a little wistfully at whatever this festival they have going on.
Okay. I'll come up and bow to her, and I'll ask her, priestess, would you like an escort to the shrine that you'll be taking over?
Yes, I would like Tarak to escort me. And Zama, if he is not indisposed.
Okay. Tarak, is that okay with you?
Sure, we can do that.
Zama, would you be willing to escort the priestess?
Wherever she needs to go, Tarak and I will make sure she gets there.
Okay. And Zama, be aware of the cat-eyed, the pale-skinned cat-eyed people.
We've been watching them for a while now. They seem like they've been drinking a while, and they're well enough into their cups. They're harmless.
Yes, but I have been given warning about them that they need strong backs to man their oars, and I would hate to have, I look around at the rest of the crew, any of these men taken aboard ship and waking up at sea.
Are you saying those are slavers? Is that a slave galley?
Possibly. I've just been given warning by a local merchant about them, so I'd rather the men watch each other's back. So
we'll take 6 when we come back, Tarak and I.
I think that would be a good idea. Yes.
Fair.
And then we'll then me and Monzi will take another 6 after you guys return, so that everyone gets a chance to be off the ship.
So with that, you, Tarak and Zama, leave the ship, and you guys escort the priestess to her shrine. It's basically a kind of a small, kind of about the size of a chapel. This is a very, very small temple.
Okay.
Gotta start somewhere.
There are, well, when she brings you guys inside, she meets with the other 2 priestesses of Ishtar, one of which was her sister. And there are a handful of other gods here. Crushing Depths is another one. So kind of has the largest niche here, but there's a few other alien gods here that you're not familiar with. One of which is just a stone with a hole bore through it. There is a pile of black sand in a silver bowl, that has a white flower in it, and that's for some odd god that no one's ever heard of. Can't hardly pronounce the name of that. And Zama pays his respects. He burns some incense and mutters a sutra to two of the gods, and kind of turns himself loose to socialize with any of the other priests or shamans here. What does Turok plan to do?
Tarak will he'll make sure the priestess, of course, is probably given over to her sister. He'd actually spend a couple minutes just looking at all the different gods there, especially the ones that are unknown. Not so much like, like in all, but just he is kind of an open, he's not really polytheist, but he's open-minded enough. That just kind of like, oh, I never seen that one before. I wonder what that one's for. Why do he probably see as a player, I know it's a silent monolith. As a Turok, I know it's not. Well, I don't know what it is, but I'd be like, I wonder if that makes noise if you put air through it for the hole in the rock.
It's a rock, yeah. Well, if you worship a rock, well,
Like,
the rock's
why-
going to
like-
be around longer than other people will be.
Right,
So
like-
put your faith in it.
Right? Like why put a hole in it though? Like, what's the point?
Right.
Other than that, he probably keep an eye on Zama, just out of habit at the moment. And if anyone does come up to him, like just to talk, he'll strike up conversation. But for the most part, it's kind of just admiration and learning new things, because you always got to learn something new, especially with theology.
Well, there is, now that you say it, there is a very elderly woman, a shriveled up mummy of a babushka, her rags are filthy, and she clearly hasn't bathed. She smells like horrible, and fish and awful and whatever else. She is festooned with garments of half fabric, half sea things. Like she's got some gaudy seashell, which you'd assume is probably jewelry in some tribal Paleolithic type culture, and her hair is it's not hair anymore. It's an enormous mat that's held. You think that's a ponytail, or it's trying to be tied up with kelp. She's terrible looking. Oh, and she kind of hobbles over to you on this like driftwood stick. It was once maybe an oar that's been snapped off at one side. That's kind of her cane, and she's got some sigils or what else, like occult symbolism carved into this oar cane implement that she has, and she she sounds moist when she speaks, but when she speaks to you, she both rasps and gurgles to you in this tone where it's Yaith is not her native language, and she is not Yaith at all, for her eyes are milky white and they glow in the gloom, which is all sorts of off kilter and unsettling. And she says, "My young traveler, would you like an augury of the fish bones?"
Tarak will probably smell her coming long before she
Jesus
actually
Christ.
comes over. He would do well to not show his face about that. Because it does look like the sea itself had spat her out in rejection here. The milky white eyes, I will not lie, he will linger on for a moment. For if he has ever seen those before, he's probably only seen those when someone was going blind.
Yep.
So, and she does not look like she's walking around blindly. I'm
No.
assuming as decrepit and old as she looks, she's walking around like she knows every inch of this place and exactly where something is. So that would kind of throw him off. He'd be like, but like he wouldn't say anything, he wouldn't actually motion, but in his head, he's like, that's not how, what?
So her crocodile claw of a hand comes up and just grabs your wrist. She's like, I will give you an augury. And she just brings you over to a bench.
Could just kind of nod at this, like, okay, I'm going to do what you want now.
A bench table that is not either, but she's going to be using it as such. And she sits on a cushion that is filthy. You don't know what god and awful was on this cushion or where she got it. And she gives you, she does her occultism here. She mutters some things in a language that is not of the foreigners, but not of yours either. And she rasps and she gurgles and she, for all you know, she sounds like a babbling brook and a mangrove in a distant swamp somewhere. There is a caw of a sea-going bird off in the night somewhere that muffles more of her speech, and she casts these bones of fishes, and there's several different kinds of fishes in here. And she tells you there is much bloodshed in your future, and you will spend an equal amount of time looking over your shoulder as well as in front of you, but your eyes will be closed to both unless you keep your wits about you. She coughs like an opium fiend on a 40 cycle withdrawal, and then she continues. There is a horror from the corrupted depths in your future, tribes of man-eaters, and your crew will be lost with all hands if you do not see to these things and protect them. The Black Abyss has spoken. And she points to some incense next to this shrine here. And she just fucking points at it, trying to tell you will you with her eyes to light the fucking incense.
Tarak will, like half in shock, half in awe at this, but he's trying to decipher and comprehend this. He'll go over and light the incense that she points towards.
Has Tarak ever dealt with a shaman or a magician, a mystic of any kind before?
Would there, I mean, I assume there was probably others in his town. I don't know if he's dealt with one that dealt with the water at all, or if we were all kind of desert or landlocked ones, though. But
well, has he ever had an occult experience before?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay. With that, then, make me a life force test here.
Would any of the sight skills be helpful in here?
No, you're not defending anything against anything but corruption at this point. It's level sight modifier plus die.
Just one or two?
Both
Okay.
die. It's a standard save.
Okay. That's going to be 15.
All right. Ooh. Oh goodness. Okay. That all? Oh shit. All right.
I have a 2 modifier and I'm only level 1, so
all right.
I haven't had any luck with things exploding last couple sessions. So
all right.
go on, sock it to me.
That is, you quite literally peer into probably the darkest form of occultism in regards to the marine portion of this world, as this this mystic, or this, maybe she probably assumed that she's a priestess of the crushing depths, because she's using implements of the sea. She didn't necessarily lay a curse at your feet, but there is a terrible revelation hits you, and you're going to be taking on 6 points of shadow sickness here. What is Tarak's spirit score?
Spirit score is 10.
It's 10 total. Okay, score. All right. Well, that's 6 of your 10. As those cold claws of the darkness come upon you there. It's a harrowing experience. She auguries this to you. Make me a hang on here. Make sure we're doing this right. Okay. Make me a meditation test. Meditation will save against fear.
Meditation. All right.
Yep.
I'm looking at now. If I decides to explode a little bit.
Right.
Not very well though.
Do it.
It's going to be a 17.
17. Okay. You do not run away in fear when she auguries this all to you, but it's the night now seems much darker and much more dangerous to you now, and there's a sense of something lurking beneath the waves. If we go for closing soliloquies here, take it away.
All right. So basically, after all that, it mentioned that he didn't run away in fear. No, he probably would not, but it would probably be, he'd probably be stuck there, frozen. I don't know if it would be fear or just kind of like everything washing over him. But after he does that, and he'll get that feeling of dread, and he probably stay there for a good couple moments, maybe a minute or two. I assume Zama, if he sees him kind of just standing there in stock motion, would probably come over and nudge him, or be like, "Come on, we got to go." But yeah, Tarak's head wasn't so much on a swivel before, since it was kind of like, "Ooh, new," I never been to an island like this before. Between that and hearing tell of the sailors, now it's kind of like pretty much has a hand on one of his daggers at all times now. And barring that, he kind of has his wire up along his sleeve to use when needed. In short, he's kind of on a military high alert if he knew what that thing actually was. And kind of like the rest of the crew, and kind of like how Zama spoke, he was starting to not like this island anyway. The officials were assholes. Fees are exorbitant. The merchant was nice, but didn't really have a whole lot of use to him at the moment. He was sad to see the priestess go, but at the same time, that's part of their job right now. So yeah, he kind of just wants to get back to the ship and make sail as soon as they can. So whereas before it was kind of awe and excitement, is now just full of trepidation and mulling over cryptic words told by an old sea hag. That now he probably feels almost like Ben does with the spot, I would assume. That there's something there waiting to grab him. And yeah, he's, like I said, he's going to stand kind of stock still until someone either knocks him out of it or it kind of filters through. And then once him and Zama leave this shrine temple area, he will be constantly looking around almost to the point of paranoia. So, yay, that's always fun.
Right. All right, Keith, take it away for us.
All right. So back on the ship, Benyathud is standing at the rails looking out over this dock, and with his men probably chomping at the bit to get out there and actually partake in some of this revelry they're seeing. But he's told them he's going to wait, but he's waiting for Tarak and for Zama to return. And once they do, there will be sending men out in groups. They should be sticking together, don't get separated, and the usual things you would normally do in a port, because you don't want to get separated, because as you know, when you do, that's when bad people do bad things and you wind up in the hold of a ship you don't want to be. As he's saying this, he's thinking back to the times when, before he's heard this same speech before from his previous captain about going ashore. And he thinks back to the time in Hinoptera where he was put off the boat, and how the feeling was so different. It seemed as if before, obviously, the captain cared about everyone, but as he was put off at Hinoptera, it was very much you were on your own. You are your back is not being watched, and all of that, and the fear that comes with that, with not being part of a crew. His eyes keep wandering towards that the area where that huge ship was, and wondering what kind of places that thing had seen, what kind of strange vistas the eyes upon its deck have looked out upon, what kind of cargoes it's hauled, what kind of seas it's seen, what kind of seas it could endure. That thing as big as huge as it is, he could probably fit 5 of his own ships in that thing. He's also a bit worried because, as the merchant said, just leaving port will cost him 25 silver. And he has enough money to pay the men, but he's barely got enough money after that to put on provisions. And he starts thinking about the idea of maybe going to one of the other islands around the area and see if he can't forage something, some food, some water, things like that, to get them back to where they need to be, or at least to where he needs to be with one of these lotuses. He looks up at the island itself. Is this island? Is it hilly, or is it flat, or what's he looking at here?
It's got a single volcanic peak.
Okay, so he looks up at that one peak and wonders and thinks to himself how easily it would be to just slip out into the night, out to a spring nearby, and gather one of these flowers and come back. But how also easy it would be to become prey to these cannibals that seem to live on the island as well. And as his gaze sort of wanders up to that mountain and off to the foliage there, he's a bit worried about Tarak out there with just the 2 of them with the priestess, and he hopes that they hurry back. So.
And with that, we will bring the session to a close on session 4 of Sha'ir's poem. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We will be back next week.